Today I'm testing a new mechanical that just recently came out on the market. It's the NAP Swingfire. It's a really creative looking head, a different kind of mechanical altogether. And they call it the Swingfire because they say it's inspired by the Spitfire and the Sling Blade, two of the other mechanicals that NAP offers. The thing that makes this unique is you see it's basically got the body of a kill zone there, but what makes it unique is it has these two blades that move very easily. Okay, there's very little loss of kinetic energy upon opening. There's no O-rings, there's no shock collars or anything like that, but it's basically these two blades that work like this in closed position. It flies like that. It's going to get really good flight like most of the NAP mechanicals do because there's very little surface area, and then upon penetration it's going to go into the hide like this, causing the rear deploying blades to come up and get a full 2 inches of cut in that opening hole. Then after it goes through the hide and the initial part of the tissue, this is going to push back and it's going to these are going to come up, and you're basically going to get about a 1 inch cut the rest of the way through an animal. Also, they're able to move around bone. If this blade hits the bone, then it's going to move around that bone, and then the tissue is going to push it back out. If this one hits a bone, it's going to move around the bone, and then it's going to push back out and come to that medium. So what this allows it to do is get kind of the best of both worlds for a mechanical. The reason we like a mechanical is, one, of course, we want it to fly really good, but the reason we like it in terms of cuts is it gives a really nice size cut, right? Now there's the over-the-top mechanicals, over-the-top opening, or over-the-top deploying mechanicals that give a smaller entrance wound, but then the blades open up fully, and if you get a pass-through, you're going to get a really nice exit wound. However, you may not get a pass-through. Then there's the rear deploying heads that give a really nice entrance hole with that big, wide rear deployment upon entry, but you may not get a pass-through, and so you may not get an exit wound. With this one, the idea is you're going to get a really nice size entrance wound, and because it kind of shrinks as it goes through, and it also swings around bone and so forth, other hard material, you're going to get a decent exit wound. Now, the exit wound is going to be a lot smaller than the entrance wound. It's about 1 inch compared to 2 inches. However, you should be able to get the best chance of getting 2 holes with this mechanical. Now, if you have enough kinetic energy or hit an animal right, you can get 2 holes with a big rear deploying head. Okay, awesome for you. Or you can use an over-the-top deploying one, and you get a really nice pass-through. Okay, all these heads work, all right, I get it. But this is supposed to be designed to give you the best penetration of a rear deploying head with a guaranteed big entrance wound. So I really like the creativity of it. I'm not sure how it's going to stack up. I don't know how strong these blades are going to be. If one of the blades breaks off, you're kind of sunk because the other blade is just going to fold back as it goes through. So you really want it to stay intact, and we'll have to see how that works out. So I'm going to put it through a test medium that I have here, and what I'm going to do is I have a thick piece of leather, real just genuine rawhide. Okay, it's about 1/8 of an inch thick, and then that's followed up by this foam rubber pad, and then I got a 1/4 inch plywood, then another foam rubber pad, and then I got a 3/8 inch plywood, and then a big piece of foam beyond that. So I'm going to be testing how it opens on that initial leather, and then how big the hole is, and how deep the penetration is, and how the durability is as it goes through this kind of like hide, tissue, bone kind of a parallel that we have here, or something to simulation of those things. So let's see how it does. I just measured this out, and you can see the entrance hole right there came out to 1.5 inches. So it was not the full 2 inches as advertised, but still you got a 1.5 inch cut right there. The penetration was exceptional. It was more than I expected. As you see, all my layers here, you see the foam, you see that thick leather, and then you see the rubber foam, you see another piece of plywood, a bigger piece of plywood, more foam, and then into this, and it buried deep into this big foam target behind it. So I'm going to pull it out and see how the head held up. Okay, this is really interesting. We saw that the initial opening hole was 1.5 inches. And then you go into the first piece of plywood there. This is the 1/4 inch plywood. And you can see the hole there. It's just about an inch. So let me put this up here. You can see it's just under an inch. Actually, it's like about 3/4 of an inch, just a little over 3/4 of an inch. You can see the entrance on this last piece of wood is right here, and again, it's like that just about 3/4 of an inch hole right there. So what happens is the head goes in with about 1.5 inches, and then it just quickly shrinks, and that gives it excellent penetration. This would be a great low kinetic energy head, kind of like a hypodermic plus P or an NAP kill zone extra penetration, whatever they call it, the 1.5 inch. But it's even smaller than that because it starts at 1.5 and it gets down to 1 inch. And then you see here's the head upon retrieval there. It spins true. And the blades got really dulled, surprisingly, though it did go through 1/2 inch of plywood there. But then you see that the blades got bent right here, which was an interesting place to see them bent. They're not concave. They're supposed to be straight right there. The good thing is they didn't break, but they did bend right there. I mean, that's not a deal breaker. I mean, the head would still work again. If you touched it up, it would still work again. I mean, the blades go through real smoothly, and again the head spins. So anyway, there's the NAP Kill Zone Swingfire. Take what you will from it. It flies great. It's got a really unique design. It penetrates extremely well. Be a really good one for low kinetic energy setups. Certainly not what I'm looking for in a mechanical.